Welcome, everybody, to the Tea with Ms McGill Show. We got some recent subscribers this week. I encourage you to do the same. Thank you, C. Johnson, 8383, Mike Applewick, Cheryl Smith, and Diane Nichols for subscribing. Like I said, if you could do that same thing right now, we'd appreciate that.
Cheryl Smith, that's my mom.
There it is. Thanks, Mom.
Yes. Hi, Mom.
All right. It is a Tea with Ms McGill Show. It is Puka, is the star of the show. Reed Larson, Happy New Year, 2023.
Happy New Year. We're on and we're running here in a new year. And with every new year and every change of the new year, there's always hockey to talk about.
Lots of hockey. All right. Before we get into hockey, we're going to talk about Aspire Heating and Control, dipping to about 1 below tonight. Any furnace trouble, these are the people you call. They are your local Bryant dealer, who are the official heating and cooling company of your Minnesota Wild. They specialize in gas, electric, and hydronic heating and cooling systems for existing and new construction. Residential and commercial installations available. Services include forced air systems, boilers, heat pumps, mini splits. They are licensed and bonded. Give Justin a call. He is a hockey guy. 999-5957. Again, if the furnace goes out, come back to wherever you consume this show and find this number, 999-5957. That's why I put it right at the top. All right. Like you said, lots of hockey. We're going to start a little bit of a different tone than normal. We're going to head into the World Juniors, which are going on right now. Well, just ending right now.
Yeah, so we'll have to get an update on what happened here in the game. Maybe we can see that. Puka can take a look here and an update on what happened in the bronze game right now with US and Sweden. But what we got to consume last night was we got to sit down and watch. We took the Grand Rapids High School team, our coaching staff took them to Mad Dogs here in Grand Rapids and had a little pizza feed for them, and they've got the NHL network there. So we turned on the World Juniors with the US versus Canada. So we got a chance to do that. And it was kind of planned for a little while that this was going to happen. Hopefully it happened, and lo and behold, they found their way into a semifinal game. So it worked out to be that night, and we sat there and consumed that game. It was great. We had a lot of pizza, and we had a great hockey game to watch there, at least for 2 periods. Especially the first period. The U.S. came out kind of with a lot of jam right away. They were putting the pressure on. They had the shots in the first period were like 16-6. The U.S. They were pumping shots at the goaltender of Canada, and actually ended up taking a 2-goal lead. So they were really on fire there, had the momentum, and then Canada scores a goal, and of course Connor Bedard scored one of those 2 goals. And as soon as Canada scores, they score another one shortly thereafter, and the score is now 2-2. And then Canada scores again; it's 3-2. So it was 2-0 the United States right away there in the first period, and then Canada comes back within a period or so and scores 3 unanswered, and they take some huge momentum. So right away when Connor Bedard scored that first goal that he scored, it was pumping with the table turned, really. Okay. Then there was a moment there in the second period where the U.S. was kind of starting to come back with a couple of jabs, right? They're starting to take some momentum back, couple power plays, couple penalty kills there throughout the course of that period. And Jackson Blake, even Prairie native and now North Dakota player, actually scored a goal to tie it up. And we were kind of picking on it because I don't know if it was a Finnish or a Swedish referee there, but he called the goal off on the United States. And of course, they're in Halifax. He doesn't want every single Canadian in the building there ready to start spitting on them. So they call the goal off, and they're doing a review. And apparently it was interfering the goaltender. But I really would like to see the actual rules in the international hockey rules when it comes to being in the crease and interfering with the goalie, because that no call, if that goal is called, the game is tied and the U.S. is pumping. Yeah, it's 3-3, right? But they waved it off. Well, they waved the goal off and they called it interfering with the goalie. Well, the puck was in the crease. Jackson Blake goes into the crease to get the puck. Okay. He swings around to reach around him to throw the puck, kind of does a little spinorama. And as he does, his feet are still in the crease, but the puck comes out of the crease, but he still has full possession of the puck. And he kind of does a little wraparound behind him and it goes in. Well, apparently a defenseman that was there gets a little shove on him, and that little shove kind of pushes him into position where he maybe bumps the goalie while he's in there. So why did you wave the goal off? Was it because of interfering with the goalie, or was it because he was in the crease? Because if he was in the crease, he had full possession of it the whole time he was in the crease, whether it was he's still in there, it goes out, but comes back in, he's in possession of the puck. Or is it because he interfered with the goalie? Because if he interfered with the goalie, it was the inadvertent contact from the Canadian defenseman that pushed him into it.
Yeah, right.
So they waved the goal off. Every American that loves World Junior Hockey is probably pulling their hair out, screaming at that. We were, as we were all sitting there, cheering on Jack Peart, watching him play. But that completely changed the tempo of the game. I mean, it took the wind out of everybody's sails. Well, the game ended up, what was the final of the game, 6-3 or whatever it was, or 6-2. There was another goal in the third period that the United States scored again that got waved off. 6-2. So there was another one that got waved off, and I didn't even see it. I left after the second period. I'm already balding, and I was ready to start pulling more of my hair out after that tie goal got called off. And again, it ended up US lost 6-2 and they go to the bronze game. The Canadians go to the gold game. The Canadians are playing against the Slovaks. And the Americans now, as we speak, are playing against the Swedes.
Yeah, got an update. So if you are recording the game, fast forward this thing 30 seconds to a minute, but don't turn it off. Keep listening. Gosh, listen to this score. OT game winner and a thrilling 8-7 victory for the U.S. over Sweden. So they are the bronze medal winners. But wow, 8-7. That's incredible.
8-7. Boy, they had a tough time scoring goals last night against Canada. They only scored 2. They saved them apparently for the bronze game. Barn burner there. They just keep both goalies got sunburn from the red light.
Holy cow, yeah.
Back. So whatever it is, but that's World Junior Hockey. And for those of us hockey enthusiasts that are out there, the World Juniors kind of falls at a goofy time, especially if you like to watch high school hockey, like to watch college hockey. There's a little bit of a break in there over Christmas where colleges are on kind of a little hiatus. Some of these players can take off and go play in these things. But really, I don't get into watching it as much because I'm so dialed into high school hockey, but it is really, really fun hockey. And of course, we're invested here with our Grand Rapids player that's there, Jack Peart. He's on that team and he's a big part of it. And we're just excited and to support an alumni of our program that's there. So pretty awesome.
Yeah. Congratulations, Jack. That's awesome. So bronze medal winners. All right. Smash the like button if you can. The Rink Sports Bar and Grill over in Evelyn. That's a place you go when you're in the Quad Cities. Today is Thursday, Thursday recording for us, normally Wednesdays, but how does Friday fish fry sound?
I could do a Friday fish fry.
I could too.
I could. One of these times we're going to have to hit that here on a Friday.
Oh yeah, we'll do it. We'll record. Heck, we'll record while we're there.
Love it.
Daily specials, hockey themed atmosphere. You can order online on the rinksportsbarandgrill.com or give them a call 248-8582. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, full bar, full menu. Rink Sports Bar and Grill in Evelyn. Like I said, that's where you go when you're in the Quad Cities. All right, so we talked about 2023 and turning the calendar here. We're getting real close to the NFL playoffs, and it just got to be, kind of thinking, as a scout that you are, just kind of like I said, we're rounding the corner here. We're going to get into kind of the dog days like you've talked about in the past, but as a scout and who you've seen thus far, I know you haven't seen every player in the state, but as far as who you've seen, who is really sticking out to you as a scout?
Well, I'll tell you, there's a couple of players, and I don't get to see every single high school hockey team, but there's a couple of players that I really liked. And right now, because I kind of focus a lot in on the forwards, and we've got the different scouts of the teams that we work with that watch defensemen and different scouts that watch goalies a little bit more. And I kind of dial more into the forwards. There's a few forwards that I really like that we watched this year that are huge impact forwards that make a big difference in the game. Two of which come from Warroad. Carson Pilgrim is really good. I like watching that kid play. Younger player. Okay, I think he's a junior. He might be a junior this year. Really good. Jason Shagaby is fun to watch. I know there are some people that may be skeptical about, well, he's all offense and it doesn't look like he's working real hard because he's so smooth. And I'll tell you what, he doesn't work that hard. It doesn't look like he's working that hard because it's effortless for him to skate. The kid makes plays offensively that I couldn't even imagine doing when I was a high school player. There's a reason why he's at the top of the scoring. And actually, recently I saw a tweet on Twitter that he was, and I don't know where he is as of to date, but this was just a few days ago. He was a few days ago 5 points away from breaking TJ Oshie's scoring record at
Really?
Warroad.
Wow.
So this
Nice
is the
gonna get her
real,
done.
this is the real deal. And he does special things. Of course, I think he's committed to North Dakota.
Bulldogs.
UMD.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
UMD. Most players, for some reason, when they're in Warroad, they end up going to North Dakota. But this one was one that didn't, decided to commit to Minnesota Duluth, which is going to be a huge pickup for the Bulldogs. I love Jason Shogby. I love watching him play. Some people are not Shogby fans. I am. And Sam Sheets is another one that keep your eyes on this one. If you want to watch teams that are potentially going to be in the state tournament or in a state championship, that he plays for Minnetonka. We saw them just over Christmas break, and he is a ridiculous impact player for the Skippers. When you see this guy come up and down the rink, he makes it happen. He's something else. He's faster than heck. He gets plays to the net. He controls her power play from the side. He's an impact player that I would love to have.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Perfect. All right. Iron Range Apparel, ODR swag right here. Baseball caps, winter caps, hats, jerseys, hoodies, the whole deal over at the Thunderbird Mall in Virginia. Remember the ODR line. I mean, I think he's 18 years old now, so he's just a young guy, but you have to find the ODR line exclusively at Iron Range Apparel. And when you're there, there's all kinds of other gifts, t-shirts, hats, all the same kind of stuff, a lot of Minnesota themed stuff. As every week I call it the gift buyer's paradise. So I know we're kind of coming off of Christmas here, but you're looking forward to birthdays, Valentine's, that kind of thing. That's still the best place to go for a gift. Like I said, you can find something for either gender and all ages. So head over to Iron Range Apparel to Thunderbird Mall in Virginia, and the Richters will take good care of you. All right. So like I said, recording on a rare Thursday. I just saw on YouTube, game just popped up here. We're going to couple to preview. The Greenway Raiders are currently, puck just dropped just probably 5-7 minutes ago, at the Hibbing Memorial Arena to see Hibbing. I think that Greenway went 0-2 over the Christmas week. Yeah, they dropped 2. Hibbing went 2-1. They dropped 1 to Delano, who also beat up Greenway. Greenway now, Thomas Vekic, one of their skilled guys, power play guy, out for the season now with a knee injury. But just wondering what your thoughts are on that one. That, like I said, puck just dropped.
Yeah, that stings. That stings for Coach Surdich and staff and crew over there for the Greenway Raiders. He's a big part of their team and a huge, of course, the name Vekic brings a lot of smiles to people over there in the Coleraine, Bovey, Taconite area. There's 1.5 million of them, and they are all related. So, but he's a phenomenal player. His sister, I got to coach yes. Claire with GRG Lightning, and now she's at the Beavers playing for BSU. So, that stings. Anytime you got a program like that, it's a single A program, and you got a nice player like that, and he goes down for the year, you know that the Greenway can contend, but they're not real deep. Right. And when you lose a player like that, I'm sure you can't just reach down the bench and say, okay, next guy up. You're going to have to, but when you reach down the bench, you're not going to get a Thomas Vekic level player. So I feel bad for him. And here's the good news. I shouldn't say good news. Here is some other news that's related to Greenway that we can kind of maybe touch on a little bit later. But at Grand Rapids, we lost a game because we didn't get to play Edina, right?
Yeah.
Well, we've filled that game now later in the season. Originally, we weren't going to play Greenway. They weren't on our schedule, but we added a Greenway game because we had an open game.
Oh, really?
And they had an open game. So now we do have a Grand Rapids Greenway game scheduled in Grand Rapids on February 7th.
Oh, nice. Okay, perfect.
So if you like the old rivalry, and it's kind of gone away for a couple of years, and it was gone and back, it was back for a few years.
Right.
It was gone for a really long time before that. Anybody that knows anything, that when Grand Rapids and Greenway play, whether it's at the Snake Pit or at the IRA, the building's full.
Yeah.
and it's fun.
Even the football game a couple years ago here, this was
Full.
Yeah, packed
Yeah.
house.
So I feel bad for Greenway that Thomas is down and out, and I feel bad for the kid, a really good kid and an awesome family. But Andy Surdich is going to do what he can to make that team competitive and make them competitors.
All
He's
right.
a heck of a coach.
All right. And also a big one in 7AA competition here tomorrow night down at the Heritage. The Thunderhawks, Greyhounds. We've talked about it. Greyhounds beating Andover a couple of weeks ago. So this one means a lot.
Yeah, it does. The winner of this game is going to solidify at least the number 2 seed. And depending on, we will end up, if we win this game, it's the sweep over Duluth East. And we still have to play Andover later on in the season. Duluth East recently just beat Andover 5-1. So if they end up winning the second game between the two, it's a split for them and a win over Andover. They could potentially get the number 1 seed. So we're back to a vote in Section 7AA. We don't have to worry about the QRF anymore. Worry about a computer algorithm making decisions. Coaches can sit down and have discussions and vote. And this is a big game. You hate to put pressure on 16 to 18-year-old kids, but it's a big game. Use that pressure and that stress that these kids have and use it to get you excited to play hard.
Right.
I don't think that you're going to find a kid on either bench that is not going to be ready to play. They're ready to be. You might be a little nervous. Those nerves are good for you. But I think everybody understands the gravity of this game. And with all of the seeding stake that goes into this too, of course, the Youth Hockey Hub wants to make a big deal out of this because it's a great rivalry. A Grand Rapids and Duluth East rivalry go back years. Watch the trailer if you haven't seen it yet. Tony Scott and company at Youth Hockey Hub has decided they put a little trailer together to promote this game. They are covering this game on YouTube tomorrow night. If you didn't know that, then pull up the Youth Hockey Hub YouTube link and you'll be able to watch Youth Hockey Hub cover this game. They've been pumping it up for the last 2 weeks. They've had pictures that have been tweeted out. They put a little trailer out the other day. Our band is going to be going there from Grand Rapids. Of course, the Duluth East band is going to be there. The Heritage is going to have people hanging from the rafters. It's going to be completely full. But it's been pretty awesome. Of course, like I said, Youth Hockey Hub has been pumping it up and making a big deal out of it. And because it is a big deal, it's a big game. But it is one of the best rivalries in the state. And one of the things they mentioned in that little trailer is Section 7AA for years. If you want to go to the state tournament, you got to go through these two teams.
Right. Exactly. All right. Sounds like an intense night for you. Better get some sleep tonight. Good luck to both teams. All right. Some scores and more from the week that was. Elk River skated past Bemidji 3-0. Denfeld had a 3-2 win over Apple Valley Burnsville. I did not know it was now Apple Valley.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
Yeah,
It's just,
Apple Valley was at state tournaments in our years.
well, yeah, but I just remember back to 1996. This was my junior year, and I remember the Duluth
forever
East
game.
Apple Valley game going into how many overtimes.
Right.
It was 2:00 in the
Yeah,
morning when somebody finally scored at the end of that game, but that was back when Apple Valley had, then the next night they go and win a state championship.
Yeah.
So it was pretty awesome back in the day. And it was just 2006 when Grand Rapids was playing against Burnsville in the state semifinals, and they win in overtime over Burnsville in order to move on to play the next game against Creighton Durham Hall.
Yeah, I was.
Those two programs have been legendary programs, and now they've got so little numbers that they're combining. And here's the problem with it. I feel bad for these programs because they've lost, their own identity.
Yeah.
They've had to combine. Kids are leaving these places and going elsewhere. And I don't want to spotlight who's recruiting them. It's not even just private schools. There's areas from around there where, there's kids that are getting pulled from Farmington. There's kids that are getting pulled from Burnsville and Apple Valley. Some of them end up going into some of the Lakeville programs. Some of them are going into some of the private school programs and not necessarily getting recruited. But sometimes these kids, they see these teams in state tournaments and they end up leaving because they want to go.
Yeah. Well, I remember Burnsville in the 80s.
Yeah.
Burnsville and Warroad were like shoe-ins for the state tournament. Well, of course, Edina in the 80s. Greenway down North Shore 4-1. Roseau over Minot, North Dakota 10-2. Duluth East 8-1 winners over the Blaine Bengals. Ely lost to Bagley 9-3. Cold Clay with another win over Mounds View 5-3. On the Walleye Scott Edina update, 5-0 win over Chaska last weekend. Edina now 8-3. We were picking on them when they were 0-3.
Yeah, 0-3 and then go straight on 8 unanswered. You know what? We can pick on Edina all we want because it's fun and those guys are the cake eaters, but you know, they usually get things going when they need to. And that is a true testament to a team that's got some tradition and an organization that's got some tradition. It's kind of interesting because you talk about Edina and it's going to be a very rare occasion that I give Edina any credit. So listen, if you're an Edina fan, because I'm only going to do this once. I was looking at their website the other day and I was just looking at, geez, how many teams have they got? And I only looked at their Bantam teams. They got a Bantam AA team. They have a Bantam A team. They have 2 Bantam B1 teams, 2 Bantam B2 teams, and a Bantam C team.
Wow. I know a couple years ago they had 2 A teams.
Yeah. They've got
this year's seniors.
7 Bantam teams. It's like, okay, we have 3.
Maybe that's what some of those Apple Valley and Burnsville kids are.
Well, aside from that, they also have 2 junior gold teams.
Really?
Yeah.
Jeez, man.
So they got numbers coming out of their ears. And I'll tell you what, when you got that many teams, and now I was being nice to Edina, now I'm just going to throw them a little bit of a jab. When you got that many teams, how do you not win the state championship every single year?
Right, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Ridiculous. Holy cow! And Roseau's got to play them, and War. You know, well, I guess not War Road, but a town like Roseau has to play them.
Yeah.
Well, even Urban Tough plays them, don't they? Or maybe in the regular season. But
and Roseau, keep your eyes on Roseau over the course of the next couple of years. I love the northern teams, and I'm a big fan of the Roseau Warroad swing. But Roseau is their numbers over the next couple of years have been plummeting, and I hope that people can continue to retain what's going on in that organization. I'd hate to see Roseau drop off the map because they lose numbers, but that's a small school. They cannot afford to lose any.
Oh, right. Town of 2000.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right. That's it for episode 39. Please comment if you'd like to get a hold of us privately, Goatsportsmediallc@gmail.com. Again, hammer the subscribe button. Where to find us? If you are on Instagram, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts, search Tea with Ms McGill. If you are on YouTube or Facebook, Goat Sports Media LLC. Merch, as always, $20 for anything large and lower, and XX and up is $22. We'll just get a hold of us. We'll figure out shipping. We'll figure out payment with Cash App, Venmo, that kind of stuff. Thanks to our partners, Rink Sports Bar and Grill, Iron Range Apparel, Aspire Heating and Control, Iron Range Goalie Academy. Anything else?
Nope.
All right. Good luck tomorrow night. For Reed Larson, I am Puka. Get out there and be your dream. You're tuned to the Tea with Ms. McGill Show.